to support joint comfort and mobility. Cancer mixture is formulated to target everyday arthritic pain, helping you move with less stiffness and ease. Cancer mixture is clinically crafted ingredients work together to soothe inflamed joints and promote healthy functions. Cancer mixture is safe, made from natural ingredients you can trust, backed by science and proven in real life. Reset your body today with cancer mixture. Choose cancer mixture for a smoother, more active day because your joints deserve premium care. Do not let your arthritic pain scare you. Cancer mixture is the solution. Produced by Trust in Jehovah Clinic in Takwa and available in all pharmacies. For bulk purchase, you can contact them in Takwa at 0244 871 862 and in Kaswa 0245012201 and in Okanshi Drag Lane at 0244 683583. Cancer mixture, a world devoid of sickness. Now let's get the papers for today. In the headlines papers for today, the Daily Guide says Parliament okays $60.7 million presidential jet. And the story is page 3 of the Daily Guide newspaper. And farmers urge action against Galamsey. Yeah, and police rescue kidnapped victim and 3 arrests. It happened in the up north. And yeah, so that's all what we have for the front line for the Daily Guide. And in the Ghanaian Times newspaper, the big one says government moves to secure bullion operations for safer movement for cash valuable nationwide. So that's the Interior Minister Mubara Muntaka over there. And police rescue kidnapped victims at Wapuli. 3 suspects arrest and one on the run. So as I said earlier, it was in the previous paper. So this and other news you can find in there. And the Daily Guide newspaper says government shifts focus to early numeracy. President cites basic education failure for poor WASSCE results. Yeah, so that's the big one in the Daily Guide newspaper. And the Chronicle newspaper says fight against corruption. Don't dare scrap OSP. Nusef Hussaini Kofi Bento reject MP's call to collapse Ijaben's office. Yes, and there was a lot of debate on the floor of Parliament on Thursday to abolish the office of the OSP. So they are saying they shouldn't dare scrap that office. And Ijaben has survived 2 assassination attempts. That's the OSP over the Kisi Ijaben. So this and some other stories you can find in the Chronicles newspaper for today. And the Meridian newspaper is saying, where are the killers of Aite Konko? Jamestown's 2 priest family fumes as justice delays. And you have failed Accra's chieftain sea chaos, Ni Ayi Okofubo, blast Nungwa chief. You can find a story on page 2 and 3 of the Meridian newspaper. And cash for clearance, OSP pockets $40,000 after clearing Edubuahen. Martin Pebu alleges. So this and some other stories, when you purchase the Meridian newspaper, you can find it over there. And the National Voice newspaper is saying NPP delegates swing behind Bawumia as rivals fake new polls. Yeah. And Presidency Finance Minister dragged to RTI Commission over ex gratia. You can find a story on page 10 of the National Voice newspaper for today. And the Auditor General jabs MIIF CEO over improper request to rewrite 2024 reports. Yeah, that's a big one for today. I think it's also running in the various newspapers for today. So when you purchase the National Voice newspaper, you can get these and some other news stories over there. And the Observer Times is saying Mahama marks 1 year, reaffirms Ghana reset agenda. So yesterday was 7th December and it was exactly 1 year we went on pause. And Martin Pebu case, Minsha South MP accuses OSP of abuse of power. And digitalization with passport services, all regions to get their first centers. And NIMOS cracks down on illegal mining, sees excavators along Brim and Ayensu rivers. So this and some other stories you can find in the Observer newspaper for today. And as the Christmas is, we are getting closer to the Christmas. We have the GTV Christmas Lighting and Home Decor Festival which is coming on starting from the 16th to the 19th of December 2025 at the forecourts of GBC. So do not miss any of our events. We have official Christmas lightning ceremony, breakfast, free breakfast treats, Bobobo Champion of Champions, and Festival of 9 Lessons in Carols, and GTV Piva Actis Night Fireworks Extravaganza. Yeah, so these are some of the activities we are going to experience at the GTV Christmas Lightning and Home Decor Festival. And the theme is Shining Together in the Spirit of Christmas. And for more information, you can contact these numbers at 0244 417 027 or 0244 032 435. Come experience the festive sparkle. So this is all what we have for you today, and Felix van der Palen is already seated with the guests to delve deeply into the headlines papers for today. Don't go anywhere. Don't miss any of our stories on the headlines newspapers for today. Please stay with us.
Okay, you're still on the GTV Breakfast Show. Breakfast served warm. I'm Kweku van der Palen. Same old Felix, same old G. I keep saying that. Pleasure to be with you this Monday morning. Hope all is going well. It's time for our headlines, and been joined by our guests. On my immediate left, I have Mr. Oscar Provencal.
Hi,
of course. Felix. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. You know,
first time on the show.
First time.
Wonderful.
On headlines. But on Friday, I was actually featured. There was this interesting introduction we did.
Okay.
And we had some fun. 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It was good.
We go back a long way.
I'm telling you, a lot to talk about. But you know, our own Oscar, they still call you Inspector Bediako, right?
It looks like I've lost my real name. So it's part of it.
That's the tag.
Yeah,
that's how it goes.
Life, so.
Yeah, you're doing well. Still directing, philanthropy stuff and all that.
Yeah, I mean, what else can we do with the industry? You asked, I think, off stage, you asked, what, am I still in the industry? I said, I can never leave it. That's my passion.
That's your passion.
You know.
The first line.
And if I were to conk off, I prefer to conk off on stage than anywhere else.
Yeah. Next to Oscar, I have Mr. Tanko Zakaria Musa. He's a lecturer at UDMAC, and you're also a lawyer. Good to have you on the show, gentlemen. Hope your weekend was good.
It's not bad.
Yes, relatively okay.
Lots went on, and people kept reflecting. You know, different winds blowing, NIMOs there. You know, a whole lot agriculture. We had something interesting coming up. Good remarks. We'll be looking at some of those things. But 1 year down the line after elections and campaign, of course, it starts with the campaign and then the elections come. A lot happened. I'm sure there are lessons we need to learn. But let me just start by finding out, how are we able to lose lives because of elections? Election is just a political process for a country. It's a salutary exercise to get in place people who direct affairs. It involves the citizens and all of that. But we end up losing lives. Sometimes there are deaths, and isn't it concerning, Oscar?
Well, it's definitely concerning. I mean, the loss of one life cannot be quantified enough. And no one under the sun should ever lose their lives just to do their, constitutional duty to go out there and vote. It should never ever happen. I think that we should bow our heads in shame as a country that touts itself to be a democratic country, that believes in the democratic principles, that we have. And we should work as hard as possible to ensure no other life is lost. Why we are so emotive, why we are so divided, why we even have the thirst for blood in the first place. Why would anybody want to take anybody's life? You're not God. We're not God. You yourself will die one day. You don't even know the circumstances in which you will die. So why take somebody else's life? You haven't given life. So, I think that on sober reflection, our politicians should, and a lot of these are politically motivated. We can't deny that. Some of these people are charged and react to what their leaders say or otherwise, and take their own actions into their own hands. And before you realize, a mother, a father, mainly, I think it's mainly men who are victims of this so far. But that's somebody's, father, brother, uncle, and above all, a citizen of this country. And so the political elite should stop their divide and rule tactics in inciting their members to violence, and we hope that going forward that we'll have none of these incidents. But unfortunately, you spoke about 1 year down the line. Do I have confidence that it will stop? The answer is no, because as far as I'm concerned, 1 year down the line, all I've seen is more divisiveness, more political divisiveness, more entrenchment. And that's not the legacy we want going forward. We want to bring together, harmonize, unite in one common purpose for this, growth and development of this nation. And unfortunately, in this 1 year, it's been very, 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 very partisan. You've seen the issues that have happened in the courts, weaponizing, and I say this as coming from a perspective of those who see it as the weaponizing of bail, the invading and arrest of people in their homes, despite the fact that it's happened before. That shouldn't be, that shouldn't be the rationale for saying that let's continue. We don't want to continue with that.
So you've sort of laid the blame on politicians.
Well, the citizens are sitting down, eating their kenke peacefully, quietly, sitting in their little, corners. Who else is then causing all this?
But there are citizens who can, out of excitement and their own evolution and the fact that they have a certain support for somebody, just put up a fight because they think something is happening that is not in their favor to get their
But violence doesn't solve anything.
Absolutely.
I think there's a Chinese saying that says that when a fly lands on your testicles, you realize that violence is not always an option. And so, violence doesn't solve anything. It perpetuates violence.
Yeah.
If you kill my relative, I'm going to come after you one day.
It's a chain.
It becomes a generational issue. And that's why it's so difficult when these things happen, whether it's in Boku, whether it's wherever, in the country or anywhere else. Violence perpetuates violence.
And you said that you're not convinced that we are working with lessons. However, if we look at this Kwitia by-elections, there was some relative peace, because the indicators in some of these things are the violence and all those things that happen. But Kwitia was...
Must you have forced peace? Must you have a Black Maria put out there to send a message to people that if you play the fool, you will enter the Black Maria. You know what Black Maria is? Black Maria is when they put condemned prisoners inside the Black Maria and they're sending them for execution or something like that. That's the message you're sending. Should we conduct elections with that kind of security around? Yes, we need peace. As citizens ourselves, can't we just simply go and press our thumbs in peace, just like we would go to the supermarket or anywhere? Why do we have to go with the threat of violence taking over? For me, that's not a civilized or a civilized way of doing things.
But Black Maria security agencies exist to ensure that the right things are done. Sometimes you put in measures just to make it preventive.
They deterrent, but we are coming from a history. Do we need to do so? We've conducted elections before where there's not been any violence. I don't think that when we go and do the local government, what do you call it? Elections, you see that level of violence. It's because the stakes are not high. The stakes are exceedingly high when it comes to the election of the president and the executives and the members of parliament. Why? Why should the stakes be so high that people are willing to take the lives of others, and those who are also seeking the power are ready to take lives of others?
So you smell greed and selfishness.
Of course, there are always going to be the elements of that. But you see elections happening in other jurisdictions in Britain and America. Okay, you may say they are developed, but are we saying we are not developed? Are we saying we are barbarians here?
Developing?
Well, how long does it take you to develop? How long are you going to blame the colonial masters? How long are you going to... how old are we as a republic since independence?
Emmy, let me
with all our educated people, and we have no excuse. I don't take it that we have any excuses. We have no excuse. We should just become the human beings that we ought to be, or admit we are bad human beings in Ghana and we are just living a lie to ourselves. That is what we should do.
And you remind me of what somebody said, but I don't want to mention the name.
Despite I'm sure our hospitality, so-called hospitality.
But it will send signals. Somebody says Ghana is a good place, but there are bad people.
Well, there are bad people everywhere, but it looks like somehow it's in our DNA now, and it shouldn't be in our DNA. Kalabule, Fly Lieutenant Rawlings came on the back of Kalabule. Yes, I'm sure there were issues of Kalabule back in Nkrumah's era. There was a chit era. Yes, so it didn't start today as a people. It is not now that we are seeing hoarding, market queens hoarding, and to increase prices and middlemen doing. I mean, it's been. If you go back into our history, it's been part of us. Nothing has really changed. It's just that the scale has gone up, and it's now become part of our DNA. We have to uproot it. The next generation should not be like us.
Let me get Mr. Tanko to also have a bite of the cherry. You're a lawyer, the legal perspective, your thoughts. We've come 1 year down the line, stuff have happened. You've heard Oscar said he's not convinced, as if it's something that might continue to reoccur. What are your thoughts? What do you see? What can be done? Can we really nip this in the bud? Is there hope?
I have participated in the 1992 elections. I voted. I was involved in some sort of, political activism because I was then in sixth form. 1996, I participated actively because I was reporting as a journalist. 2000, I was actively involved in reporting as well. Obviously, I wasn't around for the 2004 and 2008. I came back to observe a little bit of the 2012 elections. And as Oscar said, all of them, you would see there are elements of violence here and there. And there are elements of just trying to take advantage over each other, because in every competition you would always see people wanting to always have an edge over their opponents, and they would want to try every means to have an edge over the opponents. So it is the safeguards that would determine the level at which people would go to take advantage. But when you look at the root cause of some of this violence in our elections, the truth of the matter is that you cannot take away issues of unemployment, especially the youth unemployment. And when there is unemployment, there is disillusionment.
Yeah.
And when there is disillusionment, those people who are disillusioned are just looking for, if you like, some sort of, a smoking gun.
Okay.
To just vent
their
spleen or anger. And the political actors find a way of taking advantage of the vulnerability of the youth especially.
Quite unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but they take advantage of that. And when you look at the fact that gradually we are becoming politically polarized, it also heightened the whole tension, because there's political polarization, and when there's political polarization, you realize that the hawks in most of the parties tend to, get their way. They try to push for those entrenched positions.
So they capitalize on this.
And then they capitalize on that. And because ultimately, it looks like when you look at the architecture of our politics, it looks like the winner takes almost everything. So when we are going for an election, quote and unquote, as our former president said, do or die, right? I get it, or if I don't get it, then I have to, throw my hands in despair and sit back and watch for the next 4 years. And there are people whose livelihood, almost everything of ours, is dependent on a political party coming to power. If you go to other jurisdictions, really, people just go and vote and that's it. At the end of the day, for them, after elections, nothing changes that much.
Life is what it is.
Life is what it is, unless they are political actors or politically exposed people who may get any political position. But for the majority of people, the ordinary people who go and vote, they've just gone to exercise a civic responsibility, and life goes on. But it's not like that here. And that is why Oscar said that we are not true to ourselves. There is a lot of hypocrisy in the way we do things. If we take Ghana, we say we are a religious country, Christians and Muslims. We say God loves us. We are the chosen people of God. How come? Because some of these things that lead to the violence and all those things, which of the religions, the two major religions, which of them says that is acceptable? Going to attack somebody because you disagree with a person, using deception, trying to provoke, a danger, trying to disturb the peace. Which of the religions? So we put our religion or faith aside when we are engaging in some of these civic acts and social responsibilities. And that is where there is a problem. We think that in terms of what we ought to do, what our faith says we should do, it is only when we are manifesting it in our religious settings. But it has no relationship in terms of what we do. And that's the problem. So it is about the unemployment, all right, the political polarization. And then, of course, we also have a situation where there's a lot of suspicion when it comes to our security agencies who are supposed to ensure that there is that peace and all this. Because there is suspicion, when we're going to elections, you almost find out that the opposition almost want to be the ones who are securing things for themselves. They don't want to rely on the state apparatus to provide that security. So there is that suspicion, right? And it creates all these problems. And of course, the security agencies, of course, because they know that they're also treated with some suspicion and all those things, they need to also come out showing that force. We're not going to allow anybody to misbehave. So sometimes the excessive force and the unreasonable nature of engaging with certain situations could be handled diplomatically or without necessarily using the force. They use the force, and because there is a suspicion and there is polarization and there is like oh, winner takes all, it heightens everything.
Okay.
What do we have to do? I think that what we need to do is to promote a lot of civic education, because as we speak now, a lot of people still don't appreciate the fact that in a democracy is about choice, right? It's not about fight. You go out there, you vote for who you want. When you don't win, we come together. It's about looking for what is the best for the country. So it's that civic education has to continue.
So before I move on, you touched on something quite sensitive. You said religion. Maybe in 10 seconds before I move on, is there anything you want to say to our religious leaders? Perhaps there's something they can do that could make a difference.
Well, I think that we need to start using the pulpit and then in the mosques on Fridays to be touching on the day-to-day issues, the bread and butter issues. These issues about talking about, if you go to the Christian faith, is to Wabodom, Dechibi, Usabeka, you know, and then if you go to the Muslim, and Friday you go to mosques and they are talking about something that happened about 1,000, 5,000 years ago. Let's look at the day-to-day issues. Some of these issues we are talking about violence. If you look in the scriptures, there are verses in the scriptures that you can use to demonstrate that when you do that, the very things that you say you don't want to go, we all want to go to heaven. These are the things that push you away. Let's try and look at the scripture and make it more practical.
So pragmatism,
right, and all those things. And not let's not think that religion is something else, it's remote and it has no relationship in our day-to-day endeavors, whether it's politics, whether it's economics. Everything you do at the end of the day, your faith has to demonstrate how you do that, because you live by example, don't you?
Let me quickly introduce our next guest who just joined us, Mr. Prince Ntiamwa. Bump on, entrepreneur, and you're also the co-founder of the Oxford African Women Leadership thing. Yeah. So what are you doing with the women stuff? Co-founder, lady.
So when my wife left media, I think 4 years ago. 4 years ago, she founded the Oxford African Women Leadership.
Okay, you know what? Let's do this quickly. Martin Prebu, lawyer, is on the line. We'll be talking about, the OSP situation, and he's on. So he has set the ball rolling by coming on. So we'll have Counsel Martin Prebu on the line. Good morning, Martin.
Yes, morning, Felix. Morning.
Good to have you on the show this morning.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thank you for making time. So it seems you've been the hottest man over the weekend and the period, right?
Yeah, absolutely, I tell you. But I understand, I'd always incite her for this day. You know, when I entered the public space, after a few years, it dawned on me that someday I would suffer personal injury. Well, but I didn't think of an arrest. I used to think, somebody may, like the way they beat up journalists, etc. So that's the one that I psyched her for. It turned out that, okay, it will be a different one. So as for suffering something, I know that the democracy happens. That's how come the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, said that from time to time, the tree of democracy is watered with the blood of patriots and villains alike. So sometimes we have to fight. So when you fight for a better democracy, sometimes you suffer injuries, etc. So that's the whole thing.
Okay. So it's a good fight. But on the precinct of OSP, you didn't go there to fight, did you?
Absolutely. No. This as for my arrest, it's just a power play, power trick. Or like we say in Ghanaian English, we'll show you where power lies. Because, Felix, let me go straight to the most important part. And then if there's time, I can take time and do the step-by-step narration.
That's good.
I was about 5 to 7 meters ahead of the security booth. That's to say, I was walking from the security booth, which had the entrance by 8, towards the reception. So I'd gone about 5 to 7 meters. Then the second soldier, I say second because there is the first soldier, but we'll skip that. Then the second soldier yelled out, "As for me." So as soon as I heard "as for me," I turned. Then he continued, "Next time you come here and do that, I will show you, pa." That's a soldier, and pointing his fingers in a very menacing manner. Pointing his fingers and hand. "I will show you." So I asked him, the lawyer in me, said, "What power do you have? What authority do you have to show me? What is this? Because that is not law. It's not due process. Because I know as a lawyer that if I commit a crime or anything, you take me through due process and then we'll go to court. You cannot come and start hitting me. So I said, what power do you have? What can you do? Then he said, you are a stupid man. So when I heard that, I thought, oh, already the challenge that you showed me was too much, threatening me. Then you add, you're a stupid man. So I also replied that he's stupid. Then you continue again, you're a stupid man. I will show you. I'll show you. That he's an idiot. Then one of my lawyers came and pulled me away. So that's it. So it's not like he was doing anything. I went there to obstruct him. Remember, as I said, I'm 5 to 7 meters minimum ahead of him. I didn't see him. At the time I was at the security booth, I didn't see him cry. And it's not like I was supposed to see him. So I'm just saying that I went past him. So somebody walking ahead of you, 5 to 7 meters, making his way to the reception, and you call out, as for me, then I turn, then you give threats. Then he insult me stupid. Then I also said, oh, you are also stupid.
So do you think, let me just cut you in, do you think in replying, you're also stupid? That brought about this obstruction thing.
I suppose that's what they think. And so I will be happy to meet them in court. They should come. It will be nice. They should come and we'll go to court. Then we'll see how it will pan out there.
And how many
It's an abuse.
Yeah.
It's an abuse. Kisei Jabin, the reason they are doing so is that I said Kisei Jabin aided Ufuriata to run out of Ghana. That's the point. So it's out of that pain. And Ghanaians understand it because he said he got a letter of Ufuriata wrote saying that he's traveling. And he said he saw Ufuriata traveling. And you couldn't summon help. A policeman who cannot shout, Julo, 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 or a policeman who cannot shout, he's not a policeman. I've not said anybody is Julo or Kromfo, but that is the language we use when you need help for them to arrest somebody for you. We don't, at that point, when you're saying Julo, Julo, you don't now say, oh, but under the constitution, the person is innocent until proven. No. We don't do that. The Ghanaian English we speak. And that's the way, the short, effective communication. All you need to do is to say, Juloe, Kromfo, Munchino. That's all. Kisei Jabin doesn't know this, and he wants to be special, and he's special prosecutor. He has to leave that office immediately.
Okay. Now, I overheard you have a number of allegations that you've lined up that you want to work with. Would you want to mention some of them here?
Yes. So the first one is what I've said, that he's incompetent because when he saw Furiata traveling, he himself said that he wanted to stop him. And so he didn't know that he could do a press conference. So that's the Juloe. The equivalent is a press conference because he is alleging that NIB, former BNI, didn't help him. But that one is false. I wrote to NIB, they've replied that he didn't come there. I spoke with the previous head of NIB. He also said, no, he said Jabin didn't come there to seek help. Okay. Now, so those are lies. So he said he went to NIB, didn't get help. Immigration didn't get help. National security didn't get help, right? And so even assuming without admitting that he did so, he didn't know the most potent answer to this. That is to do a press conference or do a press release. The most potent answer. And it is backed by the constitution that sovereignty resides in the people of Ghana. So if anybody is obstructing a public officer, frustrating his work, the public officer is allowed to come and tell the people of Ghana. That one, it means that you are reporting the other person's wrongdoing. It's not a breach of official secrecy. No, official secret is not for wrongdoing. So if that's how come good. When Martin Amidu came and blew the whistle, that Ekufuado was interfering in the work. Did you hear anybody say, hey, Amidu, this is a breach of your official secrets? No, official secret is for good work, not when somebody is spoiling the nation, enemy of progress. You have to expose enemies of progress or enemies of the nation. So he says he doesn't know how to do press conference. He doesn't know how to do press release. Meanwhile, about a year ago, or even like, he did the Ankwa Numa press conference where he complained that he was not getting cooperation. So he died. And what did we do? Didn't we largely support? But we said some of the statements he made were too vague. It was not specific enough in order for us to be able to take on the specific institutions, etc., or the specific persons. But at least it generated a conversation, and at the end of the conversation, it was clear to Ekufuado and his government that, hey, people support the OSU, so he has to be careful.
Okay, Martin.
Yes. Okay, sir.
You know, we're working within a certain time frame, but I want to bring my guest in if they have any interaction, any points or questions to raise. But quickly, in a few seconds, the issue of the bail. You know, they've been concerned that yours has been, you know, something that has become a concern to many. But something like that happened to another person, and we didn't really hear much about that. And they're talking about some unfairness in that way. Quickly, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Short. That other person, look, let's be blunt, Paul Adumochiri, his case is different. The information we're giving was that he was involved in a contract that involved over $10 million. We can Google and see the figure. The figure was huge, and I commented. So for me, because I saw a huge figure, and you see, at that time, you see how OSP misleads the public. They didn't bring out the other side but no money had been paid yet. So for me, from what they said, you would think that money had been paid illegally, etc. So when they said, oh, Adumochiri, just bring landed property. And Felix, look, emphasize this point anytime you hear it. They didn't say landed property worth 1 million Ghana, 100,000, 20,000, 50,000, nothing. They just say landed. Felix, today there are parts, adjoining areas of Accra, you can buy land for 10,000 Ghana, 20,000, 30,000, etc. They didn't say bring cantonment's land. So that's how come when I heard it, I said, hey, you are said to be involved in a contract worth over $10 million. Can somebody Google it whilst we are talking so that you see the figure? So me, I even thought that it was simple. Go and bring your own landed property. It was cheap. And I still say so today because Felix is based on the facts of the case. What we've been told, the disclosures. We comment based on the facts we've been given. So if you can go and bring a property, landed property that's 10,000 Ghana, then they will know that, hey, we didn't put any value. So then the public will come out. If, assuming after that, he now says, no, I want 1 million, everybody will jump and say, hey, no, you are shifting the goalposts. As far as I'm aware, they didn't put any figure. So you see, fast track to my case. You see that my case, when I said no, it was too much because this is an exchange with a soldier. I cannot run away. And they refused. Quickly, I sent a lawyer to go and bring them an indenture. So I couldn't argue anymore. I have an indenture in my personal name. So quickly, it's in my office. And my office is just about 10 minutes walk. I didn't say drive, walk. If you are driving from OSP to my office, it won't be 5 minutes if you are driving. But if you walk, 10 minutes. It's because I know how to walk such distances, you know. It's Ghana that we don't like walking too much, blah, blah. But let's leave that. So you see, quickly, I went there. I sent a colleague lawyer to go and bring one from the office. And when my colleague was on his way, they saw that, so I can meet the condition. They now shifted the goalpost and said they want to verify the indenture that night. And so because it's closed, because even that night, if they say they want to verify, I'd have sat in the car, then we'll go to the property, you see the land, you see the house on it, and you can even check, ask the people, do you know people? Then you see that I have, yes, they'll be able to show you. Yet, this man said, no, they've closed. They've closed. So when the Supreme Court has said for bail, 24 hours, okay, you can even do overtime. Around 6:10, maximum 6:20 p.m., he says he's closed. He's not willing to go and check the property. How? Okay. You see the difference. So please, we cannot compare the two at all.
All right. So I have Oscar in the studio, Oscar Provincial. I have Mr. Tanko Zakaria, and I have Prince Ntiama. They're in the studio with us, and I'm sure probably they would want to share their thoughts. Who starts? Okay.
Well, Council,
legal,
legal,
and legal.
Good morning, Council. Senior Council. Yeah, I just wanted to take your pick your thoughts on there is this other school of thought that says that when you look at the OSP and what they are supposed to do, they are supposed to deal with corruption and corruption-related matters. But to the extent that they are arresting you and charging you for something that has to do with, is it assault or obstruction of a public officer, that is not something that falls within their remit, and that it is something that should be in the domain of the police. I mean, is there something that you are attracted to that school of thought?
Absolutely, and I've been making the argument. I've been making it too. So let's go straight. If you have the law council, go to section 79. Oh, well, okay, I'm sure. So you already know it, so we agree. I'm not saying go to. So let me talk this way. So we are talking to viewers and listeners. Yes, so Section 79 of the Act shows the offenses that the special prosecutor can prosecute. And Section 69(3), which they quoted, is not part. So his powers are circumscribed under Section 79, the meaning of corruption and corruption related. So this obstruction of the public officer, assuming he can even prove it, it's not within his domain. So you see how the incompetence, you see how he did the Ofuriata, he aided Ofuriata to run away. So you see the comedy of errors. He said, expect a person, you want him to stay in the office, he must leave. He must leave. That case, they should have, this is my case, they should have referred it to the Ghana Police Service. Is there anyone that, look, as we speak here, Council, Oscar, and the viewers, Kisi Jamin has charged Ofuriata, etc., with 14 financial laws. That is Section 179 of the Act 29, the Criminal Offences Act. Yeah. That one too is not within his powers. If you go to the Section 79, the meaning of corruption and corruption-related offenses, causing financial loss is not one of them. In the same way, he has charged people in the NPA case with money laundering offenses. Yeah. If you go to Section 79, money laundering is not part. And indeed, he himself, when the Adapa case came 2.5 years ago, he said no, he cannot do money laundering. So he let his Adapa go. But this NPA case, because of public pressure, he has charged them with money laundering so that the courts will say no, there's no jurisdiction to do, OSC doesn't have the mandate to do money laundering. So that these people will go free. And then Ofuriata, you know, Kisi Jabin worked for Ofuriata. Kisi Jabin worked for Ofuriata, so Ofuriata is paid him money before. So they have money business. So he has charged Ofuriata with causing financial loss, so that the court will say, but you see, you don't have this power to do causing financial loss. And as soon as they free him, that is it. You cannot go and then re-arrest him because they say, no, you see it. So double jeopardy will come up. So that is what Kisi Jabin is doing to us. And he thinks we are all foolish. We are not. A lot of citizens, millions of citizens are discerning. That's why we're on this crusade that he has to go. He has to go.
Okay, Martin. So I wanted to bring you in praise because I started.
Yeah, Martin. So do you want Kisi Jabin to go?
Yes.
Do you want another OSP or you want the office to be scrapped totally?
Initially, yes, my initial comments are that I said the office must be kept, right? So that we'll get a better manager. But now that our parliamentarians also want to enter the debate, let them finish. When they finish the debate, then we'll see which arguments will win. Because they say democracy is crowd wisdom. Democracy is crowd wisdom. Kabi mami kabi. So when the parliamentarians finish debating it, I'm sure we'll then gather and see which of the arguments are superior.
So Martin, let me come in here. Why don't you stand your ground with your initial, expectation? Now you've changed because you said parliamentarians have a different view.
No, I haven't changed. I said I'm waiting for them to also speak. Okay. Because remember they are So I keep saying when they finish, then we'll compare the arguments I have made and others have made that the office be maintained. It's just the mode of selection. We now want open, transparent appointment. Look, when Kisi Jabin was appointed, he was not appointed because he was the best lawyer in Ghana. He was far from it. Kisi had hardly, his courtroom experience was limited. Kisi is not a practitioner. Kisi wasn't a top-rate lawyer. Look, right now I'm on my way to court. When you come to court, they'll show you the top-rated lawyers. Sorry, Ace and Kuma, Osafu Kwabi, Kisi to obey you. Kisi was nowhere in the first 10. It was a nepotistic appointment that he knows Gabi Ochredako. Gabi was his client, and he knows Godfrey Dami. So then they cooked it for him. They didn't give it to him because he was the best in Ghana. So one of the things, when we keep the office, one of the things we'll be asking for is that, look, the appointment, to appoint special prosecutor, we should open it to all qualified lawyers. Let them apply. Then they will do a rigorous interview on TV. And most especially, before the appointment, you see that people will be allowed to bring issues of conflict of interest and all that. You see, had a lot of conflict of interest with Gabi Ochredako, then Ofuriata, because Ofuriata is his client, etc. If we had opened it to the public, that every complaint you bring, they will open it. It should not be done. You see, currently, when they are about to appoint said big people, when you send a complaint, it's open secretly. So people will complain, cry to get nowhere.
Martin,
Just
Okay.
pack it.
I want to bring Oscar in, so that.
Yeah, hi, Martin.
Yes, sir.
A couple of weeks ago, I said that the general public, the perception is that they are losing faith with the office of the OSP and the judicial system itself. These current ongoings between yourself and the OSP seem to be enforcing, this school of thought. And despite the fact that you have the right, absolute right, that is within your rights, I think that as I sit here, I get very confused because what is happening now is that a very important arm of the state, the OSP, and both yourself, a leading lawyer in this country, have different versions of your truth, which implies that one of you are lying somewhere along the line. Now, that impacts heavily on that perception, if that were to be true, And this trial by media that is ongoing doesn't seem to help. Natural justice is that you hear the other side. And so for those of us who are citizens here who are only hearing your side, and I think I listened to Joy Newsfile, and there were other perspectives that came. There was a woman who gave her perspective of what she had, which was different from yours. And so, it's good to have your fight out here in the media, but for me, it's sending signals out to the general public that even at that level, all is not well with and I wouldn't want to believe that OSP's office is fabricating, stories or and so forth, and nor would I want to believe the same for yourself. So that for me, it's a very serious foreboding for us as a country at this special time. And the fact that we have access to the media, and the media narrative, just on your case alone, is inspiring the move to have the OSP's office scrapped, even to the point where the Speaker of Parliament, who previously was for the OSP's office, is now asking for the scrap of the office.
The Speaker said he was against it, actually.
Well, so these are the things. And for us ordinary citizens,
they had their concerns.
For us ordinary citizens,
are you suggesting
it is feeling also like a personal grudge fight. I wish we could strip off all the innuations and interests that are there, and so that we stick to the facts, so that we can have a clear cut, but sometimes it sounds that it's becoming too personal.
So you mentioned Martin. I suggested, for instance, that he exercises constraint in some of the utterances?
I think so. For the interest of us who are not legally inclined, our just ordinary citizens who are out there, who are sitting on our chairs, wherever we are, and we're listening to this discourse, and we're wondering, where is this nation going?
Okay, so you made that point.
That is coming from the highest,
So Martin,
level.
what do you say? You exercise constraint in your utterances? Or you think you have to go all out?
Now let's go full, this is 9 yards. Look, the media helps to get the system stronger. It helps to get the system stronger. Look, the lady he talks about, that she had a different version, even though I doubt how close she was, eventually, what she said, the most critical part of her case strengthens, out of everything, there's one aspect that critically supports my case. She said F words was used. I didn't use an F word. What we said was, I said, the man first, the soldier said stupid, and I also replied stupid, and then subsequently added idiot. I don't run away from it. But the lady said F word. But let me come here. The most important part, that version you heard, in case you didn't notice it. She said she agreed that that thing happened after I had finished the media interview and walked back into the yard, she used the word re-entered. Re-entered. So she agreed that by the time the soldier was accosting me doing those things, I had already finished the interview. And there's this basic principle in law that before you find somebody liable or guilty of a crime or an infraction, you first have to publish the rule to the person. Publish the rule. So that's there's a principle against retroactivity. Mr. Oscar, you sitting there. The law is that before anybody will say, Oscar, you've done something wrong, the law is supposed to be published first so that you are supposed to be aware, even though technically sometimes you will not know all the laws, but there is a minimum requirement that it be published. Now, this lady in her thing, go and play it back. It's on the internet. I played it back yesterday like 5-7 times, and you still hear it. The police, the soldier talked to me after I had finished, and that's when he was complaining. And even he couldn't communicate effectively. He wasn't communicating that is the rule here, so don't do it. No, he couldn't communicate. Rather, he was showing me that he will show me power. He couldn't even simply say that, oh, our rule is that when you park here, don't go out, but rather continue to the reception and transact the business. He couldn't, this simple sentence. Oh, Oscar, I'm a lawyer. This is my 19th year. I finished our anniversary is usually October. Some lawyers November, others maybe, I don't know if there's December. So in October, last 2 months, I turned 18 at the bar. Oh, if I was that bad, it would have shown. If I was that bad, it would have long shown. So please, the emphasis, Oscar, for you today, something you should not, something you must take out of this conversation is that before anybody says that you are liable or guilty of something, the prerequisite rule of law is that you should first know the law. Don't wait and then when you've done something, somebody will go and pull a secret law and come back, oh, this is the protocol. No, we don't allow that.
Okay,
so,
Martin. Okay, Martin. So you think you have to go full length,
yes.
whole 9 yards? Okay.
If we don't, 9 yards.
Okay.
If we don't do that, they won't change. And let me show you just 2 sentences.
Just 5 seconds. 5 seconds, please. 5
seconds. When we brought it out, you see now they've withdrawn the soldiers. The soldiers were usurping police powers under Article 200 of the Constitution. Soldiers have to go and fight war, help build schools, hospitals, roads, etc. They should use them for that. Okay. Don't bring soldiers to come and do Article 200 duties when they should be doing Article 210, development and war. So that's one massive improvement. Number 2, it will stop OSP from further arresting other citizens. I'm the 3rd person to have been arrested like that. They did the same thing to Israel Aka. Sami Daku abused his powers and arrested a senior lawyer, somebody far senior to him. Just arrested him for questioning him that, the way you are doing this, your work, you are not doing it well. You think tomorrow they will arrest another lawyer or a citizen cheaply like that.
Okay.
So please, the media is there for a purpose. It serves a good purpose to stop tyranny.
So I like, it's interesting they said you walked away to a yam seller to conduct your interviews. I was like,
excellent.
I was like, after did you cool off with some bayer and chofi or something like that?
There wasn't time. So I'm happy you saw that side. I walked off to go and do the interview quietly. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
That's
okay. So it was when I came back that they now sought to say that the rule is that you cannot, and as I did say, they didn't see today now, there is a lady on the airways who is now saying it is a rule. But the soldier there, his statement was that I will show you next time you do this. But that's not how to communicate. You have to say the rule here is this. The rule, and I'll tell you that, but I wasn't aware, so next time we can do it. But that's not what you say. It's to show me.
We want to wrap up with you. We're grateful for your time.
No, I just wanted to say that, by and large, I think I've spoken about this before. That
are you addressing this?
Our institutions,
Okay, so
our
quickly,
institutions are becoming increasingly arrogant. And it's not just OSP. Almost all our institutions, sometimes when they are dealing with ordinary citizens, because of the power they have, they tend to actually exercise it in a very disproportionate manner. And I think that it's about time we start looking at that. Maybe we need to go back and do some education in terms of our institutions and then realize that they are rendering a service. And in a democracy, power emanates from the people, and it is the people that you are there to serve. So you have to exhibit some professionalism when you are dealing with people and only use that force as a last resort. And if you're going to use it, it should be a bit proportionate. And I think that we need to really start upping the civic education in that area.
Okay, okay. All right, Martin, we are grateful for your time.
Yeah.
And we'll touch base again.
Okay, thank you.
Have a very good day. Have a very good day. So, Prince, you came in a bit late. We want you also to probably give some remarks on that.
Yeah, so to me, there's always a fine line between who is pushing an agenda for national interest and who is also doing it for their personal interest. Is it that an independent prosecutor becomes a threat to the political class? That is a question we should ask. And if we ask that question and we don't answer it right, because they can come from anywhere to be able to let the thing look irrelevant. But as a country where a government will leave and the infractions that have come out when oral started sitting, even if it was an initial conversation, the infractions that we heard about were so huge. So a body that will be independent, that cannot be influenced. And you know, in this country, the problem that we have is creating something that is independent, that will not have the green and the blue colors in it. It becomes very, very, very difficult. Because if it's the green that is in power and an independent something is set up, the blue will suspect everything about the independent body. If the other way around, the same thing will happen.
So who sets it up?
So who is going to set it up? So some of this, I think there must be maybe a referendum or something that will do something national to bring something like this to bear, like best something like this, so that either side will not say that it's being influenced by this side or that side. Because if we do, the situation we are setting up is that we are going to make people be able to deep state and be able to hide, using everything to prove that that independent body is even working against all forms.
It's still an issue of time.
We have a golden opportunity. All this is because of the architecture, our constitutional architecture, where you remember power, really actually the executive has so much power in terms of appointments and all those things. So by and large, it becomes very difficult for you to see any position where you wouldn't find direct, relationship with you won't get the executive directly involved or indirectly involved. That's why we have the opportunity now with the constitutional review. And I think a lot of these things came up during the constitutional review sitting.
Okay.
We have the opportunity to change
quickly,
that architecture.
my time is up quickly, but let me just do this quickly. Earlier, some people were not too sure the Speaker of Parliament, for instance, his position on it. He said it's unconstitutional. That means not really in favor, right?
Which one?
The Speaker of Parliament.
The OSP.
On the OSP.
No, not necessarily. He didn't say it's not unconstitutional, but he was just thinking that because you see, by and large, in terms of prosecutory power, that is for the Attorney General. And the Attorney General has that power because of the Constitution. It is a delegated power that the Attorney General gave to the OSP. But it is that same power that has been given to ECO. It's that same power that the police sometimes use to. So you can give that power, but ultimately the Attorney General has the power in terms of prosecution. So what people are saying is that because the Attorney General can even stand up and when the OSP is going to prosecute, they can enter and only prosecute.
They said it's the largest firm sort of, and a lot
so
of
what you can do is to, if you want to really have an OSP that is independent until we change the constitutional provision. But in the meantime, we have the OSP. I am not for scrapping the OSP, but I'm thinking that the architecture as it is now, we need to look at it because clearly there are issues. We can still maintain the OSP until we change the constitutional architecture, and then we are having a truly independent office of the special prosecutor.
Unfortunately, time is gone. You're not for scrapping. Oscar, what are you for quickly?
Definitely not for scrapping.
And
you don't throw the baby. You don't